All right, we will call to order the September 2nd Downtown Business Improvement District Board regular meeting. We've got a roll call, we've got an acknowledgement of quorum. So if we have, if everyone's read through the minutes of the August 26th meeting from last week, if we could have an approval and a second of those.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, great, thank you. Any comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, then if we could go ahead and have the update by Noelle and Leona, that would be great.
Yes, yeah, if you can go to the microphone, that would be best because then it's recorded.
Okay.
And we, just so you know, Peggy, we do not have Noelle and Leona. We have some two nice gentlemen here to present to us this evening or this morning.
Okay.
It's the Bill and Phil show. How's that?
Oh,
I'm
hi, Bill
filling
and
in for
Phil.
Leona and Phil's filling in for Noelle. So, hey, good morning, everybody. Just wanted to give you a little update of what's happening at the Bend. We're just finishing up our low-key summer. We kind of intentionally back off on events because there's a lot of competition with the fireman picnics and the block parties and everything. So that's going to be over, though, starting Thursday. We have the block party, which we do in association with West Bend and with the Downtown Association, featuring two bands, just like we've done the previous three. So that'll be a big event for downtown. After that, then we're going to be starting a new series next Thursday, which will take the place of Music on Main, and we're calling it Origins. And what we're going to be doing is featuring upcoming singer-songwriters. So that'll be on Thursdays. It'll be inside, and we'll have like the concessions and the bar open. We haven't done it before, so we're kind of anxious to see how that goes over. Typically, we do a lot of tributes, but this will be all kind of up-and-coming new singer-songwriters. So that should be a lot of fun. Speaking of tributes, we do have some of our favorites returning. We will be featuring again, I got the line up. Chili Pipers are coming. That's going to be on September 6th. We already got like 300 tickets sold, so that's going to be close to a sellout again. We also have the Blues Beatles coming back in September. Billy Joel tribute, that's towards the end of September. He always has a really good show. We have ABBA, Dancing Queen. That one, I think we called that one time, it was Widow's Weekend or something like that, where the hunters were gone, so all of the women and their kids came to it, and it was a blast. So that one's coming up. And then after that, we're gonna have the holidays. And the holidays, we're featuring some great performances again this year. We are gonna be having the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, kind of a smaller version, come to the Bend for 2 nights. We are also going to have the movie A Christmas Story, but you're familiar with that movie? You remember there were a couple of bullies in there? The bullies actually tour, and they go to the movie when it's being presented, and they will do autographs afterwards. So the 2 bullies from A Christmas Story will be at the Bend to kind of meet and greet after we show the film. So that's just kind of a quick summary of what's coming up. I didn't go into a lot of detail. You can figure all that out if you look at the website, thebendwi.org, and it's got all of our upcoming events in it. So any questions about anything?
Yeah, Bill, is there a fee for the Origins coming in? Are those upcoming artists, is there going to be a fee for that, or is it free for the community?
That's free for the community. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I hope we
That's
see
exciting. Thank you.
I
That's
hope
great.
we see you all there, and for sure we'll see you at the block party on Thursday, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. If you don't know me, I'm Phil Fricci. I'm going to be taking over the Downtown Association as Noelle transitions in the next couple of weeks to the Volunteer Center of Washington County. I'll give you kind of a brief update of where we're at currently and where we're going forward. As you know, the Downtown Association runs many events, including the Farmers Market, which will be running through October 25th, every Saturday downtown. Bill alluded to the joint venture that we do with the Bend and with the city, wrapping up our Music on Main with the big block party this Thursday, so that'll be the grand finale for the season. And then we will not be doing anything until next May again, when we start up this series again. We have a few events coming up now in autumn. One is our downtown trick or treat, which will be held on the 10th, Friday the 10th. We will close a block downtown, and downtown businesses as well as vendors that will be in that short block right by Old Settlers Park will be handing out candy. We have our autumn wine walk coming up on the 22nd of November, which is the Hunter's Widows Weekend. We expect we're going to have a sellout crowd. The theme is Cozy Flannel. And then 1 week after that, we have a big, brand-new event, the Chris Kittle Mart for West Bend. We're heavy into the planning for that. That is the reason I need to leave the meeting a little bit earlier before you're done today. We have a committee meeting back at our office for that. We are well underway booking entertainment, getting sponsorships, arranging the food and the drink, and working with our partners, the Noon West Bend Rotary Club. I think I've covered everything real quickly here. Is there any questions about activities with the Downtown Association? I will add that we just had a very successful Wheels on Main event 2 days ago. We had about 425 vehicles, again, about the same as last year, and everything went smoothly. We were happy with that. It was a long day.
Phil, I had one on the Global Fest. Was it a successful enough event that you'll be running that again next year?
I actually haven't been able to review all the financials for that yet. I know that we really needed that money, that infusion from the city, the $20,000 first-time grant, so I don't know how that's going to affect everything. The perception of the community was a fantastic event. I know there's a lot of demand for it to be returning, but I can't make a decision on that yet until I get a chance to look at all the financials and talk to the board about it. Honestly, it took a huge amount of volunteers and effort in the middle of a season when we're every single week already doing multiple events. So the timing of it's not best for our organization to manage it, but that doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen again. But I'm not gonna go on record saying it's committed yet.
Okay. Well, I know I speak on behalf of the board and the whole community as a whole. Between you guys and the Bend, we're so appreciative and lucky to have your organization, and what you guys bring to the downtown is absolutely amazing. So thank you for all your hard work and effort all summer long.
Thank you, appreciate that. We love doing everything we do, bringing people to downtown West Bend. If there's no other questions, I'll have a seat then until I have to leave to get to my next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you again for both of them to come this morning. Then if we could go back over to the bid board financial report. John, if you want to get us started on that.
Yes. So on page 4 of your packet and page 5 is the financial report for August of 28. We don't have a lot of new bills or anything like that. Some of our standard monthly costs are reflected on that. We don't have anything new that's sort of under, that's in the negative. We had talked at the last meeting that our audit expenses did come in a little bit higher than we anticipated earlier this year. But otherwise, appear to be right on track with everything. And in some accounts, we may have a little bit of a balance by the end of the year. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to go through any of the line items. Yeah. And
No questions?
yeah, oh, I think there was a little, yeah, so if anybody's looking on your screen, you can take your mouse and scroll through. It'd be page 4 of the PDF. Sorry, Peggy.
That's right.
Does anybody need help, or you're good? Okay. I don't think we have any questions, Peggy.
Okay. All right. Then I guess if we could have a motion to approve the 2025 August bid financial report in a second.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you so much. All right. Then do we need to go over the detailed financial report, John?
I don't think so.
Or
It's
is that
just,
part
I
of
think
it?
it's more of information. I guess I included just more for all of your information if you're more curious
Okay.
about the details. So, yep.
All right. Then if you want to discuss the water spigot invoice.
Yep. So real briefly, in May, the water spigot was repaired because it was dripping. It was under under staff and parks department thought that spigot had been addressed. When the bills were processed in August, the water department noticed a unusual expense at the water spigot at the circle at the end of Main Street. That bill, just that bill is $285, and $1,000.21. So I'm just bringing it to all of you, one, so you're aware of it, and two, that you can authorize payment of that. I have had a conversation with Roots and Branches, since they are the user of the spigot. If they see if it does not turn off, if it is dripping, if the ground around the spigots are soft or seem waterlogged, they need to contact Parks right away, because someone does have to pay the bill, and if we can catch those things sooner rather than later, we obviously can address that. They're going to put a new spigot on. I talked to Parks on earlier last week. They said that the spigot did work. There wasn't any issues with it, but they're going to have it replaced with a knob that they think will be easier for the users to turn. They think that might, if you don't have quite enough hand strength, it might not be getting technically turned off all the way. So that was being addressed last week. So I'm just looking for authorization to pay this one particularly high water bill.
Jackie Croce.
All right, does anybody have any questions or concerns on that?
Okay.
If not, we can give John the authorization to pay that.
I mean, this is just a small concern. Do you think that the actual knob spigot might be related to the leak, or?
I mean, when everything was started up in May, the Parks noticed a small leak, so they actually had the plumber come out and fix it. They thought it was fixed. I guess we really don't know whether the spigot was leaking or its users not being able to. So we basically, Parks and I talked. They sent the plumber out. We're going to switch the knob to a more easily. So we're trying to solve multiple things. Okay. One, if the faucet was leaking, we're getting a new faucet. And two, if it's actually a difficult faucet for someone to actually use, then we're replacing that with a different type of handle that should be easier to use ergonomically. So okay. I guess we're trying to address both potentials.
Okay.
So
They were out there last week working on it for several hours, so
yep,
it might be fixed already.
I think it might be, yeah. So all right, do we have a
Okay.
Move that we pay that bill.
A second. Yeah.
Second.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, John, for taking care of that.
Yep.
Okay, guys, and moving on to, we have an open forum now discussing the 2026 bid operating plan.
So Peggy, we have two items. One's the open forum and one's the budget. I was thinking what I do is I would just walk you through the budget. You could open the open forum then up, because the public as well as yourselves will have had a quick summary of the changes that occurred from the last meeting. And then after you close the open forum, you guys could take action on the third item. So does that sound okay to everyone?
Sounds great.
All right.
Yep.
So from a budget perspective, the operating plan is attached into the packet. It starts on page 10. I'm going to jump. A lot of it is standard items that reoccur every year, such as the map and those types of things. On page 23 is the anticipated assessment roll. And then if you go to page 26 of the packet, that is where there is a summary of the project's costs. So if you want a high overview, that gives you, for instance, the administrative costs at 700, the audit at 320, et cetera. And then starting on page 27, and for those of you who have a screen in front of you, that ended up in the PDF sideways. So if you press at the top of your screen, you can turn that. You'll probably have to click it 3 times, and it'll turn all the pages. But at least for pages 27, 28, and 29, you'll be able to see them without turning your head sideways. So essentially, we have a bid assessment, keeping the rate exactly the same as it was last year. There's been a slight increase in property value, so therefore that rate has gone from about 112 to 113. So that's where the difference between last year and this year comes from. We have the 2 columns. So last week, I guess, we talked about 2 columns. So you see the 25 adopted budget, and then you'll see the 2026 draft budget, and then you'll see the 2026 proposed budget, and I'll walk you through these items so you can have an understanding of how I was able to include the new items that we talked about at the last meeting, but also keep the budget within a balanced budget. So we kept the independent audit expenses at 320. Same thing with administrative cost. For marketing, you'll see that I actually reduced that. We planned last week at a $10,000 budget. We had about about 12 to 15,000 extra, so I had to figure out where to go. We have not spent 9,000 of the marketing money, so at the moment we're on track to have a carryover of about $9,000. So with $1,000 budgeted plus the 9,000 carryover, that would keep that budget amount at 10,000. For the lights and decorations, that went up by 34,050. That's because we were planning for extra Christmas tree ornaments, the cost of all the Christmas installation, as well as some potential downtown additional decorations. And so that sort of summarizes that page. If we move on to page 28, the electricity bill, we kept flat right across the board, so 8,000 there. Facade improvements, we kept at 30,000. I anticipate a potential rollover from one project. There's two other projects out there that have until February, March to complete. They haven't started, so I'm not sure if we're gonna have some rollovers in February, March, but that's too soon to quite tell. They could pull it off in the next 6 months. Landscaping, I did decrease that by just a little bit. What we have now is we have about 10,000 in the landscaping budget itemized for bid cleaning program. And so if that's a rollover of about $10,000, I put 4,000 in for that. So that would make up that difference. So I was able to find some savings there. And then if we scroll to the next portion, donations, we kept the request from Roots and Branches as they requested at $1,750. They did ask for, they had a line item in there for water bills, but I just put everything in the water underwater rather than trying to split it out. So, and because they don't actually pay the water bill. So that's the $1,750 that they were requesting. And then for the water bills, I did increase it by just a bit from $778 to $1,500. You'll see that the total of the budget comes out to $1,111,556. That gives us a undesignated fund amount of $2,322. That's a little less than we had this year, which was $3,000, but it does allow us to get into that, to get to a balanced budget, and there's a little bit of flexibility there from a budget perspective. But we do have some carryovers, so those carryovers will help next year's budget. Or at some point, we can decide just to put those into the undesignated if you should choose. But otherwise, I think we're going to be able to accomplish everything that you had discussed last week.
So I apologize for not being able to make the meeting. I had a business conflict.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yep, hold on.
Yep.
Peggy, can you hear me? It's Rebecca.
Can you hear Rebecca, Peggy?
Hello?
No, I could not.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah?
Okay, great. So I apologize for not being able to make the meeting. I had a business conflict last week. The one thing that I was looking for in the notes, and Tracy and I just happened to be driving by downtown last night, is the lights on the buildings are not good. And I was wondering if we've considered deploying facade grant money or some of the excess into a fund that will help us get the lights going back downtown, because I almost took a video, it was spotty at best. And I know that's, in addition to the music, when we get that fixed, is a really fabulous attraction.
So I can give a quick update on the skyline lighting. So essentially, the skyline lighting, it's been there for a number of decades. As property owners have done improvements to their buildings, re-roofed, done tuck pointing, sometimes their contractors have actually cut off the entire section. So one of the reasons why some entire sections are missing is that there have been, we don't know exactly, but when you go up onto the roofs, you can see that they've been disconnected. Sometimes the connection, they're actually on a, if you think about it, it's sort of like on a string. So sometimes if somebody's at the end, their lights may actually work, but somebody in the middle has disconnected the system, and so that's why we may have a bigger gap than anticipated. We actually have a committee that has been formed and funding from the West Bend Insurance Foundation to look at downtown lighting. So street lights, lighting bridges, lighting art, lighting, architectural lighting on buildings, as well as skyline lighting, lighting within little alley walkways, all of those types of things. And we'll have a sort of a downtown lighting plan for that. And so that is part of the discussion. We've also, the city's met with Steiner Electric. That lighting system all uses incandescent light bulbs. So the bid years ago, used to pay for a lift, pay for Steiner to come out, and they replaced all the light bulbs once a year. That hasn't occurred for a number of years. It's probably time for the entire system to be upgraded to like LED or something like that. It will have a lower electric cost. It's going to need less maintenance, all of that type of thing. And so out of this study, I think that's where there'll be some bigger discussions about that. So in terms of funding that, typically a big project like that, so for instance, when the Christmas tree was purchased, those are typically things that have been paid for out of that future projects amount. But I would say you have about 100,000 in that account. You'll probably have a little bit more than that after the next year. I don't know what that exactly would cost. I think we'd probably need to look into some grants, some other type of funding sources. Also see if some business owners might be willing to, pay a little bit on their end too, that kind of thing. But we do have easements all the way through there, so it should be easy to replicate if needed.
So after the plan's complete, there'll be some sort of RFP process to see how
If that's the
much.
direction, yeah, yep.
And then, I agree, LED's the way to go. I was reviewing the business owner survey, and that one rated
Yep.
pretty high in
Yeah,
terms of.
and we
priority.
did talk, might have been a meeting before you joined, or maybe it was a conversation that just maybe Larry and Peggy and I had. I can't remember now, but we did talk about, actually, I think it was like 2 meetings ago, maybe we should just turn them off. So just go and like literally turn the breakers off, but then there'd be nothing. And I think the decision was, it was better to have something than to have them go dark. So.
I know, let's keep reminding, well, it's trade-offs, right? It's facade grants or lights, and so if it's something that brings people down, especially in the Christmas season when it turns, 4:30 and it's dark out, it's just,
Yep.
okay.
Interestingly enough, Rebecca, we found out too that it's not up to the city, but if a building owner comes in and they buy a new one comes in and they buy a building and they don't want the lights on, we can't force them to have the lights on. Now you'd think that they would want to have them on, but some don't.
Oh,
They
actually,
don't care. They don't give a darn.
Actually, well,
So that's something that we want to look at too with that lighting committee, is hoping, that we can get the community together, because the lighting is a big deal downtown. So I mean, I know that it is something that's really being looked at hard.
and I think the thing there is, so the city or the bid pays the electric bill. So it's not the property owners that pays the electric bill. And the actual lighting fixtures have always been the bid, and there's an easement there that's for the bid. I think the issue there is that, and what Peggy was referring to, is when somebody does have tuck pointing or a new roof, I'm sure what's probably happening is they have to remove the lights, do all their work, and then put it back, and then probably what their contractor is saying, oh, that's gonna be an extra cost, and then they want the roof fixed, they don't wanna pay the extra, and so then we end up with this kind of piecemeal thing that probably in hindsight, we probably should have had a better plan in place to, like, on a yearly basis, go up there and make sure everything's working, and probably have, kind of a standing contract for that kind of inspection with some local electric company or something firm to, do that, and then have a small budget for repairs. Because at this point, what's happened is the repairs have just accumulated, and if we were probably taking care of them in smaller bits. Over the last, let's say, 5 or 10 years, it probably would have been smaller, more affordable bits.
I think most of that equipment's obsolete. You can't even repair it any longer. So
Yeah, it's, we've talked
Right.
to Kevin, it's, you can't purchase it, it's operating on a shoestring, I guess, is probably a good term.
Okay. Well, I'm sure if we get a competitive bid process, we can get a good price from
Yeah.
someone. Thanks.
Any other questions? Peggy,
All
do
right.
you have any
If
questions?
not, then I guess we open it up to the open forum, correct?
Yes.
Is there anyone there from the community that has any questions?
There are 3 city staff members and 4 people from the community. I don't know if anyone wants to talk, but if you'd like to talk about the operating plan or have any comments or suggestions, feel free to walk up to the podium and provide any information to the bid board that you would like. So I'll try to be your eyes here, Peggy. No one is coming to the podium at this point, so.
Is there a time limit that we have to give, or are we good to move on?
I think you could probably say something, seeing no one interested from the public to speak, you can probably close the open forum.
Okay, well, we welcome the members of the community that came. On behalf of the bid op, we would need to approve one rating plan. If there is a motion to approve and a second,
So moved.
second.
any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, and we've already had our update. If there's anything else, John, otherwise it's just the discussion of future agenda items.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, does anybody else have any items that they would like to make sure gets on the agenda for the next meeting?
So Peggy, I believe my memory was, I can't find it exactly, but I thought we were going to meet in October, then we were not going to meet in November, just because it was going to be right before we would discuss anything we need to about the holiday events in October, take November off unless there's something urgent that we need, and then we just have an end of the year in December.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. So we'll have a meeting in October and forego November. So I think that works for everyone. All right, unless there's any other items, I think we discussed there were none, so we would make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, awesome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you everyone for coming this morning. Appreciate your time.